Big Chads, Big Chads. Big Chads and you, we're just having some fun. We're just dancing, we're just having some fun. Let's fix that music. So why do we do that, folks? Why do we dance? First of all, that song is Church of Eight Wheels. It's part of the YouTube library. You can of all the stuff you can use when you're making a video. But why do we let me get this all set here? Why do we dance? Like, what is that all about? Isn't trading supposed to be stressful? Isn't trading supposed to be annoying? And but you know what? Let's dance. Let's have fun. Learning can be hard. Learning can be frustrated. I say that as somebody who struggled in school, and so let's make it fun. I dance because I want to set the mood. It's YouTube. This is free. We're just hanging out. Like, don't take yourself too seriously. So Eric says, I love your consistency. Thank you. I'm definitely proud of my consistency. So thank you. Appreciate that. And I'm happy that you're here. So folks, I'm Big Cheds. It's what is it? December 5th, 2022. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We'll look at Ethereum. We'll talk about the market a little bit. I don't really have a big agenda. I just want to touch base with you, and I want to talk about my new book. I just published a book, but we'll get to, before we get to that, talk to me about where you are in the world. We have West Michigan here. I want to see where you are in the world. Right now, we have people from all over the world connecting worldwide, and we're all coming together to talk about crypto, to talk about Bitcoin. We're all learning, we're teaching, we're in this together. So we got Ahmed in Boston, we got Montreal. Nassim, bonjour. I love Montreal. Is one of my favorite cities. Love it. Mexico, Vancouver Island. I watched that show Alone, where it's like a survival show and it's all in Vancouver Island, and it was just really cool. Very just beautiful nature. Leeds, UK. Pardon me, Jersey. Sorry about that. North Jersey is Ched's land. Okay. London, Chile. What's up, Khalid? Nice to see you. Australia. Northern California, Vietnam. That's fantastic. Look at this. Oregon. Let's see, Atlanta. There's, for everyone I put up here, there's three or four more I'm not getting to. Look at this, right? Philippines, Como Stapo, Philippines, and Colombia. So listen, that's the thing, we are, with this modern internet age, we're just a moment away. We can all reach out and connect with each other. I think that's just super awesome. So let's get the screen up. Who am I? Of course, I'm Big Chats on Twitter. I assume you follow me by now. Academic observations about price, trading, psychology, risk management. I am the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. You've probably heard of it. Hopefully you have. The reviews are really strong. People seem to like it. You can get that for free on my YouTube, which is at Ched's Trading, right? Or just Ched's Trading. There's a playlist called Trading Wisdom. I have over a third of the book for free. I'll do more lessons soon, but I'm the author of Trading Wisdom. I also, by the way, am a cancer survivor. I beat cancer, luckily, and but I was a caregiver for someone who did not win her battle. But in any case, I want to send you this book for free if you're fighting cancer or you know someone who is. And I've tweeted this out. Just find a way to get in touch with me. I want to send you this book, my cancer memoir. Author of Trading Wisdom. My brand new trading book is out right now. Trading Quotes. Super, super, super proud of this. I actually worked in this longer than I worked on Trading Wisdom. And it's 365 quotes with quarterly review, talking about my favorite ones. I'm sure the reviews will be out any day now. I can't wait to see the reviews. I really want to see what people think. I'm also working on an Audible version right now for anybody who is asking. Many people are waiting. Thank you for saying that. Space is better with you. Appreciate that. People are asking, where's Audible? That's coming. I still have to. I'm still recording Audible. That's going to take me some time. So those are my books. You want to go to YouTube, and you're here now. You're new. How do I learn how to trade? Support and resistance, moving averages. Watch these master classes. They're going to blow your mind, right? Watch my long form interviews. I talked to some really wonderful experienced traders. So today I did a Twitter Spaces, right? I haven't uploaded it here yet, so there'll be 24. But basically Twitter Spaces where I stop and for 2 hours I take random questions from people. And if you're a new trader, you're learning how to trade, this is a wonderful resource. So I really highly recommend you go watch this playlist. I'm surprised more people aren't watching them. I mean, this is some of the best alpha out there. I really love doing these. I did one today. And of course, let's see, I am missing one more thing. Let's bring that in here. Last but not least, of course, I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin Live is literally the best in class educational platform for crypto. I personally think we have the best team in the entire world that studies Bitcoin and studies crypto. We've been together a long time. I do a twice a week full market report. And I haven't missed one in over 3 years. So you want to talk about consistency. But Bitcoin Live is just unbelievable. Check it out if you're frustrated. You want to take your trading to the next level. So as always, enough of that. I've got the chart up here. I can take some requests we can talk about. I'll talk about Bitcoin, and I have some tweets here, maybe to kind of walk through a little bit of the progression. So I don't really have a huge game plan tonight, but we'll kind of take it step by step. Let me just take a look here at the chat room real quick and get caught up. Folks, I don't have a team, right? I don't have like a guy or a girl, some monitoring. There's no mods. I don't have a graphics guy. It's just me. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I go live. We're doing this together. So if I miss your chat room message, sorry about that. Let's see. Playing this on my YouTube smart fridge. That's awesome. That's so fun. Let's see. Your book arrived. Awesome. Hey, great, Steve. I really just love to hear your feedback. I really look forward to that. So please let us know. All right. Let's see. Checking the chat room. Can I have you speak instead of a band at my wedding? That's a great idea. All right, so here we go. Thank you so much, Bitcoin Live. So what's going on with Bitcoin? So Bitcoin's right now, what is it doing? Are we in an uptrend or a downtrend? How do we even determine that? Well, you look for the blue line. It's a moving average. It's a simple moving average. What does that mean? It's equally weighted, right? As opposed to an exponential moving average where you have more price weight given to the most recent candle. If you're already confused, you have to go watch the playlist right here, masterclass tutorials. I explain all this stuff, right? So it's a downtrend. We're below the 200. The 200. This is on the daily. So the daily chart's in a downtrend. The blue line's headed down. The price is below that. Let me sit up a little bit. The price is below that, confirming the fact that we are in a downtrend. So we can identify that trend right away. What that means is we need to be essentially selling the rips, right? We're not like buying the dips in a downtrend. We're selling the rips. We're going to be more cautious. We're going to give more benefit of the doubt to the bears. And that posture has helped you, kind of kept you whole, really since 4950K, since things really started to break down. So we're below the 200. We're consolidating below below the 200. And we just had a 140 day range, essentially. If you kind of take that initial drop, 140, 150 day range, there's all sorts of stuff going on. We found out now with FTX and whatever else was going on, propping up the market. But you don't really need to know that to trade the chart. You can identify very clearly the bottom of the range, in that 18K range, 18K area. And then most recently, you can kind of drill down a little bit and you can look at the lows here from September, lows of October, and then where we bounced and were rejected here November 10th. So you have an 18.2 level set up. So you say, okay, I recognize we're in a downtrend, but at least I have a level that would allow me to go long if I want to, right? I have a level that would allow me to flip back up and to take a position, because even if you're correctly identifying a downtrend, you want to also understand where would that trend weaken, and where would I change my mind, where would I want to change up my positioning. So kind of 18.2, right, is the first obvious level. And then you have a little bit of a room to bounce, maybe up until kind of 20K, 20.2K, kind of the top of this range. At which point, this is if we got a strong bounce right away. And then you'd have to be dealing with the MA200, right? So that would be a problem. So you get a nice bounce here and you come up, and now we're kind of interacting with the resistance and the 200. That would be a setup for a short at that point, right? Until proven otherwise, again, you're fading these moves. And the reason why, we look back, where did the last mean reversion, right? What's a mean reversion? A mean reversion is a movement against the trend, resetting oscillators. You think of it, you may have heard of a relief rally. It's the same thing. Um, and of course, there's some subtleties to that. Of course, I'm oversimplifying. But the last move down, the correction rejected right at the MA200. So the MA200 has been kind of the final boss here on the daily chart for a while. We want to get above the 200. And then of course you have the 28K underside, you've got 25.5. You have all those levels we've talked about, we talked about beforehand. And that's, part of the problem now is given how let me just go back here for a second. I mean, given how neatly Bitcoin is consolidated all the way down, there's a lot of resistance and all these levels on the way up, but at least we know what they are. We've been talking about them. We can identify them. But it's the opposite of this, right? We talk about the rocket ship. You get the slow bleed as opposed to the pause. Consolidate, pause, right? When that comes down, you've got all this support, right? It will stop at the support levels. And so Bitcoin kind of done that in the reverse, where it's paused all the way down. You've just got support, right? All above you. But you can be you can be more hopeful above 18.2K, and then we start to close above the daily MA200. You're in pretty good shape. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of when the trend will turn around. Obviously lower, we're watching the 12K zone. 12K zone. We've talked about that. We see how that was. Let's see, 10 to 12K. Let's go to the weekly chart. Let's go to the weekly chart, and we can see how that was the peak back in 2018. That was the peak here in 2019. That's right here, peak right there, right? 2020s, we see that. We see where this cluster of support. We've got support here. We see that. It makes sense. We know we're trading below the prior all-time high. That is a problem, right? We know we're below the weekly 200. We'll get to that, right? So that's all below. Back to the daily. So that kind of sets the table. All right. And so what is the first tweet I want to cover? First, let me catch up with the chat room. Folks, remember, I don't have a team. It's just big Cheds hanging out. Let's see. Not really. I don't trade Wyckoff phases. No, but I use like spring and upthrust are very things I use because it's just simple horizontal strategy. A support level broken and quickly recaptured. That's a spring, right? That's in Wyckoff, but I don't trade phases. No, I don't. I just keep it nice and simple, level to level. Bollinger Bands are amazing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Love the poster. The artist is really talented. Rusty, World of Rusty. He's done all 3 of my book covers. Hopefully he will do the next 5 that I want to write. He's just unbelievable. So I'll let him know you said that. And all right, let's see what else. Checking in the chat room. Good evening. Everyone's saying, hello, and you're the best. I don't need to keep highlighting those. So thank you, everybody. So let's get to it. Let's get right to it. All right. This is funny. Can we have a talent show for a chat mod? I mean, I don't YouTube enough, and there's not enough people to warrant a mod per se. It's kind of in that in between. Pardon me, because I do Bitcoin live twice a week. I don't really YouTube a lot, but my book's out. I want to talk about it. Again, Trading Quotes on Amazon. You folks got to check that out. So here's an interesting tweet. So a year or so, November 21st, here's what I said. Where were we? So I said a year ago, I thought it was likely we would still go to 100K. So let's kind of step back. Here's my big picture thesis. And this is from October 16th. I put this out. So what was going on in Bitcoin at the time? Let's go to the Wayback Machine. Let's go to the Wayback Machine, right? Boom, right here. So we're on our way up. I'm still thinking, here's what, and it's, everyone was talking 100K, and they were talking about 100K here, before the end of the year and right away. And to me, that didn't seem reasonable, but I was trying to think, okay, well, what would make sense? What would be reasonable? And if I just kind of go like this, you can see, okay, I see an ascending triangle still. I still see the ascending triangle, right? I still see that before it broke down. You still see the rising demand and the resistance, right? So that's what I was thinking. I said one possibility to reach 100K, and I drew the ascending triangle, and there it was. And this was for me, this was like a bear case at the time when I put this out. This was like, oh, Ched, you're a huge bear. Um, we aren't we below? Yeah, we are. We are below the previous all-time high. That I go back in the video about 5 minutes. I pointed that out. 200 people in the chat, only 15. Like whatever with likes. I'm not going to sit there and beg for likes. It's not a big deal, but if you do it, so at this time, this is a bear. This is like a bear case. If you remember, for those of you who've been around, this is like, oh, Ched, you're a bear. But I was trying to illustrate a case that would make sense. And this is where you pause and consolidate, catch that rising demand, right? And continue. But, if you go back here, this is blasphemy. It's funny at the time, it was so bearish for me to say this. People thought we were going to shoot through right here, and hit 100K within a few weeks. I mean, the fever was pitch fever, whatever metaphor you want to use. So I'm like, all right, well, here's a way we're going to get to 100K. This is, around April, really, really strong move. You can get there around April. That was my bear case. And that's kind of what I thought would happen. Now, here we go, November. So we flash forward. This is after we've topped off a little bit, right? So clearly this is after I called top, if you remember, and I haven't been shy in pointing it out, but I called top up in here, all around it, right? So, even though I had said like, the top's in, at least I said the local top, because at that point I couldn't know that it was going to be the top. At the time, this is about incomplete information. At the time, all we knew was that was the local top, right? We didn't know that it was the top, for the cycle or for the phase. So I'm saying back here though, I'm basically reminding people this is still my thesis, and basically saying, hey, pay attention because we're starting to get close, to this rising demand. It's not about hey, Chets, how come you drew the trend line that way? Why not here? Why not here? None of them matter. They're all the same. It's all the same trend. Like it doesn't matter, for those of you who are hearing this, it's probably blowing your mind, but it doesn't matter how you draw the trend line. This wick or that wick, it's not about the line. It's about the trend. The whole point of this line is to illustrate the trend. So here's the tweet, and I'm saying I'm still believing this thesis and kind of wanting people to pay attention because we're heading back to what should be support. And I'm just pointing out here that a year ago, I still thought we were going to continue, to 100K and how much things has changed. I did not pull up the tweet in which I should pull that up. Let me find it in the other screen real quick. Here we go. This is the tweet in question. Okay. So, I had that tweet, and then 2 days later, a month later, I put out this tweet. There's a full month later, and the thesis was dead. This thesis dead because why? We lost the weekly MA50. So this is here. And then, we lost, right? We got below the weekly 50. We talked about that. The significance of the losing of that simple moving average here, 50. You started to close below it. Weekly MA50 had never done that before. It had been support, and then we lost it, right? We talked about all that. You go back and watch my YouTube. I don't have to delete videos or tweets because the stuff ages nicely. So go watch it, learn from it. So that was interesting at the time. This is what I'm trying to illustrate to you is having a plan, right? Like you have a plan based on all the best information, and then you adapt when you get new information. So that was the point of that tweet. Next up, we have. Here we go. So this is a little more interesting. So I'm saying to people, IMO, in my opinion, be patient, right? And whatever, Cheds, you're always saying be patient because and it's always good advice. Be patient, right? But the point I wanted to make to people is that let's see. Before I continue, the point I wanted to make is when you have something like this, a well-established range over a long period of time, and then you break down, like it's not gonna it's almost never just gonna V or it continue down. It usually will pause and consolidate and take some time and go through different forms. And this from experience. So what I'm trying to say, let's clean that up a little bit. What I'm trying to say here on this day, we'll copy it. Let's put it into play. Let's see what was going on. It was this day. We're starting to break down. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of all that, but I want to keep these zones up. And we'll expand it. So that was on this day, right? And it's like we're breaking down from the bear pennant. Everyone's drawing the bear pennant. Wherever the pennant, what doesn't matter what you call it, you're recognizing it's a tightening range. Oops. Uh, it's a tightening range after a move down. So that favors the trend. You always go with the trend, favors bears. And what I said in my tweet was be patient. The pennant is just as likely to morph into a descending triangle than break down quickly, right? That's the whole point. Like, because it's such a large move down, this is the point I made on the Bitcoin Live weekly chart, weekly up like the Sunday update around this time. I pointed out like a large candle that large in the weekly time frame. You're a natural teacher. This is the best, the biggest. I don't want to hear how great I am. I like hearing that I'm a good teacher. That means a lot to me because it's fun. I love connecting and making a difference. So thank you. A candle of that size, that big a movement, it needs time to digest, right? Moves need time to digest. So I'm saying be patient, right? It's going to morph into a descending triangle, more likely than break down, right? When did I say that? That would be right this day, right? What happened? It morphed into a descending triangle. It stopped here where you would expect it to. If it's a descending triangle, it bounced and rejected where you'd expect it to if it's a descending triangle, right? So that was really interesting. That call, that observation on the 21st let you feel completely in control for like 7, 8 days because it did exactly what you would have expected it to, right? And you'll see this all the time. Bottom, and consolidation channels will morph from one pattern into another, a smaller one into a larger one, a rising wedge into some type of a double top or whatever. I mean, just all sorts of patterns. These things will form. So be patient. And another tweet later that day, right? It's on the same day, so I don't know if I need to cut and paste it. All right, so it's on the same day. Later that day, I said, just a reminder, and this is after. No, this is the following day when it did set the low. We thought it wouldn't. It started to bounce, and I'm saying to people, reminder: this range will take time to digest. Large moves take time to digest. And the market's not going to move as fast as you want it to. And we're junkies. We want action. We want action. I know I want action as a trader. I want volatility. We need it. So there's times to realize when we're probably not going to get action. We're probably not going to get volatility, and likely may not even have much great opportunity either, right? In kind of trendless volatility absent environments. So reminder, the daily range may take time to digest. Consolidation structure may continue to morph from pennant to descending triangle had already happened. And then I said, and then perhaps even a bear rectangle should the bulls break the triangle. What happened? Now we're in a bear rectangle. It's like, it's unbelievable. It's kind of amazing how cleanly Bitcoin has traded and consolidated all the way down. From the simple drop back here, you could already be thinking it's going to probably do, a pennant into a triangle, and then the descending triangle breaks, right? And now you're in a rectangle. It's just a channel. It's just a channel with an upper boundary, right? You've got some resistance here. You got a lower boundary right around 15.5. And what is it? What are we looking at? It is just a consolidation zone after a move down. I mean, so what is it? What does that usually do? Usually we'll continue lower. Doesn't mean it's 100%. Doesn't mean it's 90%. Where is it? 60%, 65%? Fine. So you have in your mind what's probably going to happen. But how do I know how to play it the other way? If it's going to go bullish, well, we started the video talking about that. You go long at 18.2. So, there's no this is all really textbook. Everything we're seeing here is textbook. There's nothing unusual. You know where you're at. You're a pretty weak daily downtrend. You got this decent little bounce, but am I going to get excited? No, I step back and say I'm not even at the weekly EMA 8. Right? All these are just weak mean reversions, not even to the EMA 8. below lost support. I mean, you see this, you have to know what you're dealing with. So it's just, it's very easy for people to get excited, and I want to teach people to be more to try to find ways to get more context and more perspective, and then find ways to feel in control. And I just showed you how you were able to kind of not predict, but predict a likely, bottom forming scenario, or at least, sorry, consolidation changing scenario. And that's what we've seen happen. I mean, look at that. Pennant into descending triangle into rectangle. And it's like we've done this a million times before. We've seen it on different time frames. That's the benefit of studying and putting in the time. You develop muscle memory, so you know what is going on. Someone said, "Is there a bearish rectangle?" No, a bear flag has a bear rectangle is just a rectangle after move down, right? It's just a lateral range. In Japanese candlestick, they call it a box, right? Um, but it doesn't. The name isn't important. All you have to do is identify an upper boundary and a lower boundary after a move down. And what is that? That's consolidation after a move down, which is likely to continue. So you can simplify these things without having to get overly focused on the name. Is it a flag? Oh, well, the flag's gone too long. It's still a channel after a move down, right? This is still, whether it's a bare rectangle because it's gone too far, it's gone more than 50% of the flagpole, doesn't matter. It's still a bare channel, consolidation channel after a move down. If I flip it upside down, you look at this and you're like, well, this will probably break up more likely than break down, right? So that hopefully answers that in some sense. So that would be this tweet there. And then I talked about some context for Bitcoin price action. This was the 29th. It's a couple days later. This is when we were starting to break up and out of. This is on this day. We're starting to break up and out of the descending triangle. And my point was, yeah, it's a nice little bullish break, but just recently we had the opposite with Ethereum, where basically I'm saying it can it still morph into a bare rectangle, which it just did, and we just rejected here today with the up thrust, right? This candle broke up above the prior candles, almost a shooting star, but it's got that too long a lower shadow, but it's an up thrust, it's a bearish candle, with the up thrust. So we kind of bounced to the top of the range and rejected. And that's, for me at least, that's confirming that this is a level, very important level to watch, and it's a rectangle. So we can morph into a rectangle. But what I'm saying is, don't get so excited about this break, because we just had it break in the opposite way on Ethereum, and then Ethereum ripped and hit its target, right? Less is more. Wait for volatility and key level interaction. So basically, don't play in the middle and the chop range. Look at this. There's no volume in here. So let's go. Here's the point I was making on Ethereum, right? Let's go to Ethereum. So if we remember back here, right there, remember back here, and I will clean that out. You can see the ascending triangle which formed, right? We have the rising hypotenuse and the flat support level, indicative of people holding the price down, trying to accumulate before the price goes higher. Think about like an ask wall. There's a big seller. That's bullish. You see a huge seller on the order book, that's usually pretty bullish, right? That's someone trying to hold the price, intimidate retail. Every time it drops, there's a higher low, more anxious buyers pushing the price up. The same thing is true in how a descending triangle forms, often with a prop bid, right? A fake bid, a big bid. The bid gets pulled, before, as or before it starts to fill. But the point I wanted to make here was, just recently we had this ascending triangle temporarily break down and then charge through. And we went 1270 to 2K, right? So if we're looking at Bitcoin, right? If we're looking at Bitcoin, I mean, look at this, almost the exact, look at that. This is almost like what Bitcoin did with the descending triangle into a rectangle. So let's go back and look at Bitcoin, right? Where it had the false breakdown. Here's Bitcoin. Good old BTC, my friend BTC. Here's Bitcoin with the ascending triangle break. We'll flip it upside down. It looks exactly like this is what Ethereum did, right? Boom, boom, and then it just ripped. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but the point is, we've seen these ascending triangles break and get invalidated and move into another pattern. So, if you're thought leader, or your whoever your Discord leader is rallying over this ascending triangle break. The point I was making is be a little bit more cautious, be a little more flexible. Let's not forget that Ethereum just had the false breakdown. Where was the tweet? Less is more. To take time, and then yes, and let's not forget the false breakdown, right? That we just had on Ethereum with that ascending triangle. So I'm trying to add all this context because these are all things that are floating through my mind. I look at this, I look at it all the time, and with Bitcoin Live, twice a week I stop and do a report. So I'm always kind of glued into what's going on. So be flexible, right? Be water, like Bruce Lee would say. And then here we go. This is kind of a random aside. I made let me clean this up a little bit. So I included this because I wanted to make this point. This is a good teaching point. I often get people asking me about, time frames, and I brought this up in the spaces today. Someone had asked me about time frames, and one of the answers of when you switch to low time frame is after volatility. So I said, okay, BTC just had volatility. This is when you switch to a lower time frame to observe the consolidation, right? BTC just had volatility. What was the volatility? This big green candle, and it's a move lower to upper Bollinger Band move. You start to watch for weakness at the upper Bollinger Band in a downtrend. It's a downtrend with the price interacting with the upper Bollinger Band. I mean, this isn't our first rodeo. We've been doing this before. We understand upper Bollinger, upper Bollinger, upper Bollinger, upper Bollinger, upper Bollinger, upper Bollinger, right? I mean, how do I really? I mean, we're back now to May, right? I mean, so how much further do I need to go back? Maybe it's not the exact top, but that's, in a downtrend, that's not a comfy place to be. You're not comfortable as a bull at that point. So you start to switch, especially, and it got there quickly. You start to switch to lower time frame, yeah, and kind of go from there. And you've really just been watching here, maybe on the 4-hour time frame, and then you just had the up thrust. Maybe you took a short here in this candle. Who knows? But this is the general rule. You just had volatility. That's when you switch to low time frame. And again, this is chat. Let me check in with the chat room real quick to see how everybody's doing. Let's see. Everybody seems like they're doing okay. Appreciate the comments. Thank you, folks. Bonjour. Of course. Thank you so much. BTC never under 17K. Isn't it under it right now? That's funny. It's at 17,055. That's funny. Really appreciate what you do. Yeah, I'm having fun. I enjoy the fact that I can go live. I got 230 of you here. I did a spaces today on Twitter. I had about 230 people as well. Checking in with everybody. Okay, we'll talk Dixie. We'll definitely do Dixie. We'll get to that. That's a good one. People are asking about that. Checking in with the chat. Everybody seems to be okay. What would be a quick tip for risk management? Bet less. Smaller positions are easier to manage. You have less emotional attachment, and you'll find that it's easier to follow through on your plan and not get faked out. Cut your position size in half. Cut your watch list in half. Those are some simple risk management tips. Much love from the UK. All right, so we're gonna get to. So what if we're just 2 weeks into another 140 days sideways range, right? I mean, that would be unbelievable. I'm not saying we are, but here we are. And I'm right here in the bottom. What if we're just 2 weeks in? Right? What if we are? What would that do if we're just 2 weeks, into another 140-day range? That would be ridiculous. That means we're here till March. I don't know if I could handle that. Maybe we would get bounces in between. This had the rising wedge, the lower high, the failed double bottom. But man, I'm just thinking that it's again like I don't expect. I don't just I've gotten to the point where I don't just expect the market to give me what I want. I expect the market to try to keep it away from me, for as long as possible, right? John says he couldn't handle it. Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, 140 days. Let's get to the last one. This is the most important one. And then we will, you know what? I'm going to save this for last. Some people had asked about the Dixie. I am getting, let's go to the Dixie, and then I'll get to that tweet last because I can kind of rant on that. So what is DXY, the US dollar index? It's an uptrend. As of this moment, Right now, it's an unconfirmed uptrend with the price trading below a rising 200 simple moving average. This is a really, really critical juncture here at 104. You know, if you are starting to lose the 200, and in an uptrend this strong, that's only okay if you essentially immediately bounce off of the key horizontal just below. Those highs, this consolidation cluster, these lows. If we lose here, we lose this higher low, and we no longer held where the price was rejected, then consolidated. You know, then that turns into major resistance. So we break below 104. You know, I tend to think we're going to drift back down towards that 95, 96 level one way or another. You know, various, you know, could do it in a lot of different ways. All these pullbacks to underside of lost support. Who knows? But you know, this is a really, really important level. Okay. Um, you know, and it's like how big a time frame, how much of this, it's like always the debate of how much of this chart do I want to take in to try to figure out where I think it's going. Because if you kind of just zoom in, you say, oh, it's a pretty neat and clean, you know, lower Bollinger to EMA 8 type of a consolidation so far. So like this is just incredibly weak right here. This is incredibly weak, which puts this, you know, the context of this one candle really doesn't matter. That's if you're only looking at the last 14 bars. But if you step back and look at the trend, look at the daily chart over a multi-month period here, essentially the whole year, you can see the construction, the air, the just absolute air between the price and the MA200, right? Really should hold here, should bounce here in that first test. If it doesn't, that would be extremely bearish. This is a big level. This is a really important area. We're right here. You know, if we get below 104, I think for me, that would be really bullish for risk assets, really bullish. So let's go back to Bitcoin. I'm going to make my point on the last tweet. Last tweet. So what's funny is, so hey, Big Cheds, this time is different. So Chet, IMO 40 to 55K, 45, 50K top next bull market. 2 cycles to reach 100. Why am I even saying this? Well, so let's try to make sense of it. Where is the other tweet that started that? Let's see. From Big Cheds. You can find all my tweets. You type from Big Cheds, 100K. From colon Big Cheds in the Twitter search. So this I put this tweet back in April of this year. April, you know, when we we're like 40K or whatever. And I said the run from 12 to 100K is going to be epic. And that's, you know, me saying we're probably going to 12K. And then at some point we'll be 100K. And in, you know, given the more that it's become closer to actually happening, and I continue to kind of try to puzzle it through, the more it's getting close to actually happening. Where did I put it? See, this is what happens when you don't have a team, right? Let's get rid of this one. Get rid of that one. Some of these other folks have a huge team. They're doing their giveaways and all that other stuff they do. Let's get rid of that. Here we go. All right. So let's go there. Boom. And we'll just put it up in the chart. You know, that's up there. And so the move from, you know, back in April, the move 44K, the move from 12, you know, Cheds are crazy. There's no way it's going to 12K. Well, we're basically there. We have a little ways to go. You know, we saw the air basically 30 to 20K. There wasn't much there. And then 20 to 12K, really not much there either. So I'm still kind of waiting on that kind of final move, right? But let's say that does happen. And let's say we do bottom in here somewhere. You know, I was kind of hoping we would have gotten here quicker, right? Because, you know, it's not always about the price. It's not always about the price, but how you got there, right? So getting to the price quicker, dropping out of 12K quickly would make it easier to bounce, but slowly bleeding there, you know, makes it much more difficult to bounce because you need to reverse the strong momentum, bearish momentum we have right now. You need a snapback. You need an overreaction move, some type of a momentum pivot. So how do we get from 12 to 100K if we get there? I mean, it's not looking good right now. This is the worst. Bitcoin's never. So this is back to this tweet where I said, so you know, this is me saying it's going to take 2 cycles. This guy's laughing at this is almost like, this is kind of concerns me because people now have been so pre-programmed that, oh no, all I got to do is hold. And every halvening, we do an all-time high. And all I got to see, these guys laughing, saying, oh, this time is different. Anybody who thinks this time's different is an idiot. This time is different. It literally is different. We have never traded below the all-time high before, and we're doing it right now. While I'm on YouTube with you and we're hanging out all around the world, we're doing it right now. It's different. We've never spent this much time below the weekly 200 ever before. This time is different. The weekly MA 200 has never been this flat ever. It's different. So these folks are going to be separated from their money because they want to sit here and laugh and say, oh, this time is different, right? Oh, the only thing is different here is fear. I mean, what? You can't walk around this blind. You can't be this blind when you have money in play, right? So, the whole 12 to 100K, I think it's going to take some time. And I really don't, from here, wherever we bottom, whether it's at 12K, whether it's somewhere, 9K, 13, 14K, could very easily see the next bull run only take us up to maybe here, 45, 50K. And then we just have a lower high, right? What would that look like? Right? Let's clean it up. I mean, for me, it makes a lot of sense that wherever we find footing here, the next bounce is just a lower high. That's a little bit too low, even up here, maybe even this high. Yeah, like right there, maybe even like double, we kind of double tap that level, and that's our lower high. And then we come back and maybe kind of find support here. And then we come up, here, and we turn around. It takes a long time, and then we get to 100 after like a long sideways grind. We're not going to bottom here and it's just not going to happen. We're not going to bottom here and go to 100K next cycle. It's just very unlikely given what we're seeing, the signs of the weakening trend. Like the long-term chart is in major trouble. Long-term Bitcoin chart is in major danger. Okay. So that's why I say to people, this guy's laughing, this time's different. It literally is different. It is literally different, but Uber Bull Retail still laughs. That's a problem. And look, I'm here trying to tell you exactly what I think to be true. Doesn't mean I'm always right. Right? Doesn't mean I know everything, but like I'm authentic. And I'm trying to speak to my younger noob self so that self doesn't get wrecked. And that's what it's all about. As I'm talking to you as if I'm talking to an earlier version of myself. So it just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when I see people about talking like that and laughing. Ha ha ha. Oh, this guy, this idiot over here really thinks this time is different. Really? Have you seen the weekly chart? Look at this. All this price action below the 200. We're below the prior all-time high. MA 200 flattening out. Oh yeah. Ha ha ha. This time's different. Come on, wise up, people. So, I am Big Cheds on Twitter. I enjoy interacting with you on Twitter, but it's not as good as on Spaces. When I do like an audio, I did one of those today. There we go. Ask me anything. This is great. Did that for a couple hours. I'm on YouTube as well at Cheds Trading. This is where you can get a ton of great info. If the stuff I've said in my YouTube didn't make sense to you, or if it was confusing, check out this playlist, masterclass tutorials. That's really going to help you out. Twitter Spaces, if you're a new trader, you need to watch all of these. Sit there and listen, go to the gym, walk around, whatever you're doing, put in your earpiece and listen to these. You need to listen to these. They're going to really help you firm up your game. I am the author, of course, of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. Incredibly well received, well reviewed. Get a free version of it on my YouTube channel. I am also a cancer survivor. My battles with cancer. I'll send you this book for free. Just give me your email somehow. Find me on Twitter or email me. My contact, it's on YouTube. You go to About. You can find my contact. Get me your email. I'll send you my cancer memoir for free. Trading Wisdom and the follow-up now, Trading Quotes. I just published it this week. I am incredibly proud of this book. I wanted to publish it like months ago, but I had to make it better. I kept refining it. And I really can't wait to see the reviews. The chef cares more about if the people like the food than, how many plates were sold. Maybe the manager or the owner, cares about the sales. But I want to know what people think about the book. I put my heart into it. It's one quote a day. There's 365 quotes. Plus there's a quarterly review where each quarter I talk about my favorite quotes. I put a cool story in the beginning of the book, talked about, my trading journey as inspiration. So, consider checking that out. And if you are serious about learning how to trade, you have to join Bitcoin Live. It is the best in class educational platform for crypto. I'm a founding analyst, world-class team. I think we're probably it's a unbelievable team. I do a twice a week full market update. When you sign up, you get access to everything, not just my stuff. You get access from the rest of the team. And, we rarely miss. Just a wonderful team. Check out Bitcoin Live if you are looking to take your game to the next level. But YouTube's fun. You can do great on YouTube. You don't have to jump into Bitcoin Live if you're not ready. Start with the Twitter Spaces. Listen to all those. Listen to all my market updates. Soak up. There's so much free alpha out there now that wasn't around 4 or 5 years ago. So if you're a brand new trader, you have great resources to learn from. It's going to be up to you and your discipline. It's up to you and how much effort you put in, right? You need discipline. One sneak peek quote. What does that mean? I tweet them like all day. I tweeted out a couple today. I tweet quotes all the time. All the quotes for the last 3 months I've been look at the cover of the book. On the cover of the book, there are 3 quotes. Refusing to take a small loss will often lead to the opportunity to refuse to take a big loss. It's right on these postcards. You see it, the postcards. Here's another quote. Watch your temper. If your blood runs hot, then your trades will run cold. Here's another one. It's the bottom quote, right? If you are in a rush to trade, do not be surprised if your money is in a rush to go somewhere else. I've been tweeting these quotes like for the last year. It's like, oh, Chad, sneak peek. Like I've been inundating you with quotes for the last 6 months, especially. So that is super funny. I'm so glad you folks are here. I really do. I do want to say thank you. Thanks for hanging out. I really hope you watch my YouTube stuff. I'm proud of what's out there. Hopefully it helps you. And join the Twitter Spaces. I want you to join next time. So, folks, thank you. Let's get this party going on again. And that is that.